Hi, it's craftytinas. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add an elastic closure to your notebooks. This is basically a piece of elastic being held with eyelets on the back. The eyelets we're using today are 3/16, and we're going to use the crop-a-dile to close them. There are many ways you can close an eyelet. They make multiple pair of pliers. They make little things you can hammer them on. I don't recommend that in the craft room. It's a little hard to hammer these on because you have to be straight. You'll see what I'm talking about when you're clamping them. Pliers are the way to go when you're making paper crafts. You don't have to have the crop-a-dile. Other pliers will close these, but you also need some way to punch the hole. The crop-a-dile does both. It has the hole punch and the attachment to close the eyelet. So let's get started, and this video is going to be only about the band. We're only putting the band on the book today. This is a book I made earlier that already had it, so I wanted to show you what the finished item looks like. We're going to put it on this notebook today. Now, you can use any type of elastic. Just keep in mind the elastic has to go through this hole. I use a 1/4 inch elastic. This is just plain, regular, household, everyday elastic. I have so much of it, but it's not pretty or fancy. It is just white ribbed elastic. This is elastic I got from Hobby Lobby. It's 1/2 inch wide, so it's much wider than the 1/4 inch, double the size. But it is elastic, and it will fit through these eyelets. It is the same type as this one. This one is also a 1/2 inch wide. This elastic is softer to the touch than this one, and it's prettier, but it is more expensive. Well, 2 yards was $2.99, but Hobby Lobby puts their ribbons on sale half price all the time, and that included the elastic. So I only paid $1.50 for a whole spool of 2 yards, which is 6 feet. We're going to add it to this notebook. If you would like to know how to make these notebooks, I have other videos showing you how to bind them, how to make the covers, and how to punch the holes. If you are interested in making this notebook, I am in the process of making templates. So here's the template for this particular notebook. Because this is 5.5 inches, I wanted 9 holes so I could have 9 double wire bindings. We simply use our slide out at 1 1/4. And we pull out pins 10, 11, and 12. That is how we get our alignment for this particular notebook. I wanted to show you this because I am trying to get in the habit of letting you guys know more specifics on my videos. I will also have links to the crop-a-dile and the eyelets in the description below. If there's anything else you see here you would like a link to, just let me know in the comments and I will go back and add it. This particular book has 9 holes and 9 wires, but if you've seen my other videos, you know I like to experiment. The last video before this one, I only put 7 and added beads, and on a notebook prior to this one, I have 10. So you're really not limited to different creative aspects of punching your holes and making your notebooks. But let's add our elastic to this book. This video, again, is about adding the elastic closure to the book. This was a request on a Facebook page that I'm a member of. So the first thing we want to know is what is the front and what is the back. And in my videos, I show you how to bind these so that the back cover is where the actual seam of the wire is. This is where there is a seam in the back. There is not one in the front. My other videos on making this book shows you how to get that effect. Otherwise, this seam would be out here, and you don't really want that. So this is definitely my back, and this is the front. So with the back, we're going to take the elastic and go around the book. There is no set guide or measurement for how far in you need to make your elastic. It is simply up to you. If you want to put it on a grid and and make a mark, that is perfectly fine. Using the Craftytinas, they've actually gave you a little window so you can see any marks that you put on the paper and know exactly where to punch. They also gave you a guide that's movable that you can see how deep your hole should be. And this is a 1-inch guide, and I have it on the 1/2-inch mark. So let's decide where we want to put our holes. This is a 4 1/4. I don't want to go in too far, but I don't want it on the very edge either. So I'm just going to simply go in a 1/2 inch. So that gives me a 1/2 inch from the end of the elastic to the end of the book. I'm not going to make a mark because I am just going to wing it. That looks about 1/2 inch from the edge of the book to the metal of the Craftytinas. I already have my guide set to the 1/2. So when I put my book up against the guide, I know it's exactly a 1/2 and punch. I'm going to flip it around. My guide is already there, so my hole is going to be exactly the same distance from the edge. The only thing is lining it up here. And again, it does not have to be perfect. You can measure that if you would like and make you a little pencil line or mark. Homemade means it's not quite perfect. But there's my 2 holes. Now I need to add the elastic. In order to get this, now I need to add my eyelets. You can choose if you want the pretty side of your eyelets on the outside of your book, or if you want the pretty ones on the inside. I chose to have the prettiness on the outside. So I'm going to flip it around, place my first eyelet in the hole, and I am getting ahead of myself. You need to put the elastic in first because it needs to hold the elastic. So I was correct in the beginning. We have to put this elastic in this hole. So you need to cut your elastic at an angle so that you have a point to put inside. And it's going to go in the right side of your elastic to the right side of your book. And just pull it through. The tail will go in the same direction as the elastic itself. This way you still have the hole, because you're now going to put your eyelet inside the hole with the ribbon. And it's going to be a little snug, but because this is chipboard, it actually fits. It's very, very giving. I'm going to make sure it's all the way through both sides. My ribbon, because it has a print, needs to be seen on top, just like the cover. Because you're going to wrap it this way, you want that to be seen. Now that I have that eyelet in there, my ribbon straight that way, I'm going to hold my ribbon and I'm going to seal it using the Craftytinas. The little knob part of the Craftytinas goes on the smooth part of the eyelet. It also helps you hold it better. Once that little nub gets in there, then you know all you have to do is make sure your ribbon's in the direction you want and squeeze. And it doesn't take much pressure. It's a very good tool. As you can see, it has attached that piece of elastic very well. And now I can trim this off. If you don't like the look after you trim, you can take a black marker and cover that elastic, and it really does hide it well. But now I need to wrap the elastic around my book, and it needs to be semi-snug. You want it to be taut, but you don't want it so tight that it is bending your book or your pages. I'll go a little bit out and cut my angle. Once we insert this, you'll be able to do a little adjusting before you clamp it down. I've also, if it's a small book, you can actually put the point in the hole and pull it. You can actually make it fit without being tight to the back cover of your book, and that is enough to cover and be just snug enough. If you're having trouble with how snug to do your elastic, as long as the book itself is not too thick, and this is a little less than a 1/2 inch, you can do it this way. If the book is very thick, you're going to have to kind of estimate how much pull you need. But this, to me, this seems good, so I'm going to hold my finger on here to hold the elastic from sliding around. And now I need to add my crocodile to the bottom. I'm going to put my ribbon back to make sure that it's not twisted. Remember, your ribbon needs to go in the same direction, so both of these need to come down. With the wide ones, you may have to like spread it out a little to make it look good. My hole is still there and my elastic is smooth. So I'm going to add my second eyelet. And again, it's going to be a little snug, but it will go in. These eyelets are a little sharp on one end, so they do fit in well. It goes all the way in the hole. It's coming out the other side. My ribbon is not twisted. It is flat, and the print side is up. Now I'm going to close this side. I'm just simply going to pull the elastic down and hold it so that it's out of the way. The knob goes inside the smooth side, and once you've got it in there, you press. And it is spring loaded, so pressing it is really easy. Now my ribbon is secure. I'm sorry, this is elastic. It just looks really pretty like ribbon. And I cut out the extra elastic. Now I have an elastic band that closes my book. It's pretty easy once you've done one. If you want to be less cumbersome, start out with the 1/4 inch elastic, and you can get this in white or black. You can probably get pretty elastic in the skinny stuff too. I've always found the 1/2 inch elastic when it comes to prints and different types. This is usually in the ribbon section. Just make sure it's not ribbon, that it is actual elastic. If you want to practice, buy you some cheap plain white. This is on Amazon. This spool is huge. I have no idea how I'm going to use this much elastic, but we're going to give it a good try. But it really makes this notebook stand out. You might not be able to see how pretty and gold these flowers are. They're actual roses. I chose them because of the red paper and the gold binding. But this really stands out and makes a very nice notebook. And that is exactly how you add your elastic closure. You can use the larger eyelets if you can find them. These were We Are Memory Keepers eyelets that was actually for sale a long time ago with the crop-a-dile. I will try to find them on Amazon and see if I can put them in the link in case you like that look better. Remember, there's no difference as far as the hole size in the wide ones and the regular ones. And these are 3/16 in size, and that means that's the size hole. The crop-a-dile has a 3/16 side, and it has a 1/4 inch side. I'm sorry, an 1/8 inch side. This is a very tiny eyelet, and I actually don't have any of these. It was a little too small for me. I want to be able to put a ribbon, a string, or something through this for cards. And that is what I basically bought this machine was, for card making. And again, it's the We Are Memory Keepers brand, just like the Cinch. And they kind of match, so get all matchy-matchy in the craft room. But that's it. That's all it takes to create this elastic strap. You've probably seen my other videos where I use this to add a box of crayons or add a pen to a notebook. It is the same method no matter what you're doing. Just put your holes in, not too close to the edges because you don't want your book to rip. You want to give it a little space. Punch your holes, add your elastic, and now you have a great notebook. Make sure you comment below if you have any questions. I'll be sure to answer them. Happy crafting, and make sure you subscribe.